opinion, the Fujifilm X-E4 is the perfect camera ever made by Fujifilm. Let me tell you why. I might sound crazy for saying this statement, but this is my opinion. And in this video I'm gonna tell you why, and that's for a couple of reasons actually. First of all, I wanna say that no Fuji camera is bad or worse or whatever. Well, there are some worse cameras in terms of like the specs in like megapixels or video capability, but in terms of like the shooting experience, I think every Fuji camera is just great. Maybe not the M1 or an X8 camera because they feel like really plasticky, but in general all Fuji cameras are great to use, and I've used like a bunch of them actually. So I have a little bit of experience with almost all types of Fujifilm cameras except for an X-H or XS camera, but I have a friend who has an X-H2 and I've shot with that one as well. So it's, you know, I've experienced almost all Fujifilm cameras, so I can definitely say that the Fujifilm X-E4 is the perfect balance between all the Fujifilm cameras, and also the perfect balance between simplicity but also being a professional camera, but also being not too simple. And I'm gonna explain to you why. So the Fuji X-E4, I have it right here. It's a really simple camera. As you can see, it's just minimalistic, and I joined the Fujifilm system in late 2023, so I wasn't there when this camera got released, but I have read some like reviews and stuff and like posts by people, and I saw a lot of negative and bad stuff about Fuji X-E4 because it was too simple. First of all, the camera has no D-pad. It has no buttons to customize your shortcuts or anything. So you might think, oh my god, what am I gonna do now? I can't customize a button. First of all, you have a Q button here, which every camera has, but you also have a custom button on the top. Then you have a joystick, which is very great to use, and cameras like the X106 or the X-T5 all have a joystick. I know that the X-T5 also has a D-pad, but the X106 or V, which are very popular, don't have a D-pad, so I don't see an excuse why this would be a bad thing. The buttons or the buttons that are on the camera are just enough because you have a touch screen on the camera, so you can just flip to the left or up or down or whatever, and you can just customize those shortcuts to whatever you want, which is just so easy to use. And nowadays with smartphones and stuff, I think this is a better approach than going for a D-pad, honestly, because Fujifilm is all about the design, and this sleek design of this camera with no buttons here, I think makes the camera. And it's also one of the reasons why this is the best camera by Fuji, because there are like no distracting buttons. You don't need them on this camera because you have the shortcuts on your screen. This camera is also great for video, but it has one downside which I don't like, and that it has no IBIS. Other than that, it has a great screen. You can just flip it up like this and you can just see yourself whenever you're filming a talking head video, or just whenever you're vlogging, you can just hold it like this with a stabilized lens and you have a vlog camera. So that's another reason why it's great, because of this screen. This is my favorite type of screen on any camera. I also owned another camera with a flip out screen, but I didn't like that as much for photography, and this is just a perfect balance between photography because you can just flip it out like this and do some weird angles, but if you want to film yourself, you can just flip it up, and it's just a great thing that Fujifilm did with this camera. And there are other cameras that also have this feature, but the X-E4 is the best quality out of those cameras, because other cameras are like the XA series and those are plasticky. So yeah, X-E4 has a great screen. Another thing is that you have your entire exposure triangle on the top of this camera, and that's a common thing with Fujifilm cameras, but with this camera it's just really simple because you have your shutter speed dial here on the top that you can just control. You have your ISO on this scroll wheel, which is just really easy to use, and you can also select your shutter speed with this dial by just pressing it once. And then usually you have your aperture ring on your lens. I have this pancake lens by Fuji, and this is a great lens, and this is also a great packaged with each other. I'm gonna show you. So this right here is probably the best setup that you can get for street photography as a Fujifilm camera. And you might think, what, you are crazy? The X106 and V are way better, or X-E5. Guys, I'm talking about compactness, and that is where this camera shines. It's definitely way more compact than a X-E5 or even an X106, because even though the X106 has a built-in lens, it's larger because of the optical viewfinder, the IBIS, so you have to take that in consideration. And yeah, the lens might stick out just a little bit more, but the positive thing is you can change your lenses on this camera, which is a huge upside if you compare it to an X100 camera. So that's a big reason that this also shines, because you can just change your lenses. Yeah, you can still have this compact body with an amazing performance. So while we're talking about performance, this camera has a beautiful sensor. It has the X-Trans 4 sensor, which, well, obviously you can't see anything in the sensor, but it's Fuji's, not the newest sensor, but the one before that, and it's just amazing. It has beautiful colors like every Fuji camera, but it's also very fast, and like it gets these beautiful colors. I can't really describe it, but it's just kind of magical with Fuji. Yeah, as I said, this camera is really quick and fast to use. You can just scroll through the menus and select your film, simulations, and whatever. You can just go for every setting that you want in like a millisecond. It's just really great to use in that way, because it's really easy to operate. And I've had issues with older Fuji cameras. They were just too slow, so I just couldn't like use them whenever I was going outside and wanted to get a quick shot of someone walking around, you know. So this is just, it has great autofocus, and it's really quick to just go through every single setting. So obviously this camera is not gonna be better for sports photography or maybe like a commercial, if we compare it to, let's say, a XH2S, because that has a way faster output, whatever you want to call it, or I don't even know the names. But if you're gonna get an X-E4, you are not gonna use it for that kind of stuff. This is more of a casual camera, but you can definitely by far use it for professional stuff, as I did myself and a lot of other people. Really don't underrate this camera. It's so great. Yeah, if you're looking for a Fuji camera and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, you can get this second-hand for around 900 euros or so. I got it for 900 euros, but I traded another camera for it. So anyways, yeah, it's just probably the best camera that I've had from Fujifilm, better than my X-T3 or X Pro 1, but that's an old camera anyways. I really prefer this over the XT range, the X Pro range, and maybe definitely the XS range, and maybe even XH range in terms of professional stuff. Yeah, obviously the XH2 and S have the newer sensors, they are quicker, so you can't really compare it to that. But if there is an X-E5 coming out, that will definitely beat all the Fuji cameras if it has IBIS or maybe weather sealing or whatever. But in my opinion, this is the perfect camera from Fuji. They really outdid themselves, and I don't think they can go wrong with an X-E5 that looks basically the same, but just some other upgrades like IBIS, as I said, or weather sealing. But other than that, this is the perfect camera in my opinion. Let me know what you think of the Fujifilm X-E4. I think it's great, and yeah, I've made like 2 other videos on this camera now on this channel. I think one unboxing and one like real review. So if you want to see my review about this camera, make sure to check the top of the screen, or check the description, or check my channel in general. Yeah, let me know what you think is the perfect Fujifilm camera, or just camera in general. I'm not really that well known with other brands, but yeah, definitely let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.